Okay, guys, so here we are with the finals of tonight's Wacky Wednesdays tournament. It's the Martyr matches, who can kill themselves the fastest, and we have Staxwell versus Hawaiiandude in the finals. And Hawaiiandude has been the guy to get out the absolute fastest, the fastest suicide that we've seen tonight. He managed to kill himself in 6 turns with this Shaman deck. And Staxwell, we had a pretty good semifinals, myself and him. We both managed to get the Jiraxis Sacrificial Pact combo out with the Warlock. I did it on turn 8 because I had a coin, and he did it on turn 9 against my mage. I just wasn't able to get there fast enough. And then a pretty dramatic finish in our third game of the semifinals, where Staxwell just did an insane overdraw play with the Wild Pyromancer, Circle of Healing. You know, we had 2 Northshire Clerics on the board. It was beautiful to watch. Just absolutely milled the crap out of himself. I think he even got like 25 overkill damage. So that was pretty impressive. So now what we're going to see is we got Hawaiiandude running Shaman and Druid, and he's basically most of his deck theory and building in this game has been based around getting out Malagos and doing a serious amount of burst damage to himself for pretty good price. And then Staxwell, like I said, on the other hand, we've got him playing the more traditional Jiraxis Sacrificial Pact combo for the Warlock, and then obviously with the Priest, we've got the overdraw aspect of playing Wild Pyromancer with a couple of Northshire Clerics, Circle of Healing, and you get a nice big board. Then you do the damage from the spell damage to everybody with the Wild Pyromancer, and then you heal everybody up, and you draw 1 card for every healing done with those Northshire Clerics, even to the opposing minions. And yeah, it's a pretty sick combo if you can get it off in time. I thought I was actually going to be able to pull out a win there. I got my Mage Dormo out on turn 8, I believe, because I got Emperor Thorson, and managed to kill him immediately, getting my health down to 8, getting my Ragnaros pulled out, and I was about to Pyroblast myself to death, and then he played Alexstrasza, which set the health of Ragnaros to 15, and I did not know that this was a possible play. It does say on the Alexstrasza card, set a hero's remaining health to 15. I didn't realize that when your hero's set health was 8, that you could actually buff it up to 15. So this is a play. I don't know if it's been done and constructed, but it's definitely something to consider. You could play maybe you could play any deck where you use Mage Dormo, and provided you hold on to Alexstrasza, I mean, you could get a 15 health Ragnaros where now your hero power is 2 mana, deal 8 damage randomly. But we see Kenny here asking who I think is going to win this match, and I think that the decks favor Staxwell. I think that the way he sets up his plays require less combinations in order to win. Having said that, Hawaiiandude, like his deck is geared towards, especially you see here with the Shaman, he has things like Ancestor's Call to pull Malagos out of his hand early and cheap. It's very effective and very efficient, but I think that Hawaiiandude's decks are very contingent on him drawing into Malagos and being able to get Malagos out to finish himself off. So I think that Staxwell might be the slight favorite in this match, but definitely we've seen the most efficient killing, the most efficient job from Hawaiiandude. And he does have an awful lot of burst in this Shaman deck. Not so much burst in the Druid deck, but plenty of milling available. And obviously with the Druid hero power, you can still like knock yourself into other minions and try and do little bits of extra damage that way. So the Druid can kind of chip himself away while he finds that Malagos play. But like I said, oh wow, he just burnt off Malagos, and I think that suddenly swings the game immediately into the favor of the Warlock. Of course, we do see Jiraxis in hand and Sacrificial Pact, so the Warlock is always winning this match on turn 9 if the Shaman isn't able to kill himself by then. And I think considering that we just saw Malagos burned off, it's just not going to happen. I just don't think the Shaman can kill himself fast enough. So I think the first game for sure here is going to go to Staxwell. Although we do see that the Shaman does manage to get a Thorson charge onto his hand. I just don't think he has enough. Even he's gonna have 8 mana. Okay, so let's see here. That's 5 damage. That's 10 damage. He has no spell damage +1. He needs to. Oh, and he burns off Crackle and Lava Shock. That's pretty bad. Can he do it? That's the question. He's got 5, 4, 5. I mean, he's only got to spend 5 mana to do 10, 13, 15, but it's just not enough. Knowing that we see Staxwell holding the Jiraxis Sacrificial Pack combo, it's just not enough. Wow, robbed, and that actually was a really, really interesting play and very unlucky for Staxwell because he is holding a number of minions. But the fact that the Hawaiiandude was able to get Jiraxis to pop out from that Ancestor's Call, that's pretty insane. And now he gets to he could attack into Jiraxis for a further 3 damage. There you go, and he's got 4 health left. Does the Warlock have any healing? Is he holding any healing in his hand? I think the answer is no. We don't see any healing, so it's pretty likely Hawaiiandude's going to be able to finish himself off on the next turn, although he doesn't have any burst that we see, and we've seen a couple of crackles burn off, so he's going to need to swing twice, and he's only got 1 swing of his axe left. He's going to need to find another way to take that 1 damage. He's either going to need a second axe, which I don't know if we've seen, and he's also going to need just some sort of burst. But I think we saw Lava Shock burn off the second Lava Shock and both the crackles. I don't know if we saw 2 lightning bolts, so there may be 1 more lightning bolt in this deck. All we know is that Staxwell cannot play a minion that has 4 attack. He just can't do it. Now, if Hawaiiandude does have any more burst in his deck in these last 4 cards, he's going to be able to use the Murlocs to draw it out right now. He is going to have to kill 1 creature. And there you go. Staxwell takes the loss in that one, conceding, I think, knowing he's just not going to be able to come back. I think there was definitely 1 more lightning bolt in there. And, yeah, he was going to be able to pull it out. Hawaiiandude was going to be able to pull it out right away with those Murlocs. So here we go into the second match, the second game of the finals match. And let's see, we just saw the Shaman win, so it's going to be the Druid, and it's just going to be a matter of whether or not Staxwell wants to stick with the Warlock here, or if he thinks that the Druid match will be more favored for the Priest, because the Druid's going to probably have a few more things on the board at that point, and the Priest can do another like huge Wild Pyro Circle of Healing combo to like do some overdraw. We'll see though. This is going to be pretty interesting. And he sticks with the Warlock. Okay, so I think he just figures playing the Druid, if he can get the combo into his hand for turn 9, then he's probably going to win more often than not. And we still don't see Jiraxis, so it's going to be really important for Staxwell to tap into Jiraxis before or by turn 9, because the Druid has an awful lot of healing in his deck, and he's going to be able to keep the Warlock pretty efficiently topped up. We saw in the last games he was playing Ancient of Lore, healing his opponent, bringing it back with the Brewmaster, heal his opponent again. He has 2 Brewmasters. He also has like the Ancient Brewmaster, so he's going to have like a lot of options. But starting off right away, this Flame Imp is probably going to benefit Hawaiiandude more than it does Staxwell. Then again, Staxwell took 3 damage from playing the Flame Imp, and Hawaiiandude's going to take a total of 4 damage after his hero power gives him 1 armor each time he swings in. So slightly beneficial for the Druid here to see that Flame Imp, but not a great deal so. And with the Warlock's hero power to be able to tap his life away, he might have a slight advantage in this spot. Like I said, it's really going to come down to whether or not he can draw Jiraxis by turn 9. And in doing so, like, what is the Druid going to do about it in the meantime? And that's really dangerous with the Warlock overdrawing. Like, to see that overdraw and to lose those cards, like, if he loses Jiraxis, it may be game over. I think in this situation, I think he almost should have gone Priest, knowing that his opponent was going to be playing Druid. And in this spot, yeah, he needs to make sure that he's getting cards out of his hand like right away, because he doesn't want to overdraw. He needs to be able to get Jiraxis, and if he loses Jiraxis, it's going to be really, really tough for him to come back. I think that's his win condition, basically, is getting Jiraxis out in this game. I think we see, what do we see? 8 cards in his hand right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a 9 with the card draw. But we've got a little bit of a bug going on here, and hopefully it corrects itself. But currently we may end up having to look at these options cards for a moment. So, all right, Staxwell draws Soulfire. That's actually not a bad card. He's holding 2 sacrificial packs. So with the Soulfire card, he's not really in great danger of losing anything, but he's definitely going to need to keep playing cards out of his hand. And Flame Imp's another great drop. Do 3 more damage to himself, and he's taking the lead. It does mean that that Hawaiiandude's going to have the option to like start healing him back up with these Ancients of Lore, but we're still looking for Jiraxis. Staxwell is still like fishing for Jiraxis essentially, and Hawaiiandude, it really wants to find a way to just keep filling his hand up. Filling up Staxwell's hand and try and burn off Jiraxis before he draws into it. That Brewmaster is kind of costly. He really wants to be able to play the Brewmaster, so that's one card that he didn't really want to lose. He's going to Cold Light. What do we see? We see a Drake. We see a Dark Bomb. And it's going to be a shame we have to play the finals out with these cards showing, but it could be over very soon. It just depends. It really just depends if Staxwell draws into Jiraxis here. Okay, so he manages to avoid it again. And considering these are hanging about, I'm just going to jump out of Spectator here and jump back in. Hopefully we don't get bugged from another one of these choice cards, like when he plays the Ancient of Lore. It wasn't actually happening in the previous games, so it'd be kind of frustrating if this like just happens to happen in the finals. But hopefully we won't have to worry about that. And we kind of know what the Druid's holding, so I'm not really worried about seeing the Druid cards right now. I think we have a good idea of what's going on, and it really is the drama here is seeing whether or not Staxwell manages to draw into Jiraxis before the Druid gets himself killed. Okay, so still no Jiraxis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, like, he can afford to draw. Oh, he can afford to draw again. He's just replacing card for card. And I think he's going to Mortal Coil his own Novice Engineer. I think that's the play. I think you want to Mortal Coil the Novice Engineer. Oh, well, you can Mortal Coil a bigger creature. But you don't get the card draw. Is that the play he wanted to make? Like, shouldn't he just be cycling? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think he could have afforded to just keep cycling there. I mean, perhaps he's worried that the Hawaiiandude pulled back a Cold Light. I don't know if we saw that in the transition between going through our spectator mode here. But if there is another Cold Light in Hawaiiandude's hand, then of course it's dangerous to have 9 cards in your hand as the Warlock. But if he doesn't, if he's used both Cold Lights, or if he... Oh, no, there it is. Okay, so Staxwell's playing correctly in that spot. And... he still may be forced to overdraw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay, so it really, with 5 cards left now, he's got a 20% chance of burning off Jiraxis. And kind of would hate to see that for Staxwell, but Not that I'm biased here. It's just I really like the Jirax's Sacrificial Pack combo. It's probably one of the earliest ways to win this style of play. I think you just need to play. There he is. There he is. Okay, so Staxwell is gonna win this match on the next game, on the next turn. And unless the Druid has some sort of incredible answer, I just don't think he can. Malagos is just too expensive. Too expensive to play Malagos and anything else on one turn. I think he's hoping that if somehow he draws into Moonfire, that he can do like a double combo, like maybe Moonfire Moonfire on the next turn, but it might not be enough. So yeah, we'll see. Ah, see, Gibbs makes a very good point here in the stream comments. He says, "I wonder if Stax will run Sense Demons." And I don't think he does, but that is another great way to accelerate your draw into Jiraxis. So that's a great idea. And Druid Spectator sucks. Yes, Druid Spectator is the worst spot. I'm not sure what's going on here. Have we completely frozen up? Look, we've got like half a card draw. We've got a card hanging here. Does anybody know? Has anybody seen this happening in their own time? I really feel like we just missed the end of the game. Jump out. Jump back in. Is it still going? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so I would say that Staxwell won that match, right? But looks like we missed it. Okay, so there we go. Let's just wait for this game to get going, and then that'll be it. This is the deciding match in the finals, 1-1. So it's going to be down to, what do we see? Staxwell also runs the Priest, so it's going to be the Priest Overdraw mechanic versus the Druid General Self-Milling and Malagos combination. Okay, here we go. No, sorry, Hawaiiandude. We are totally not spectating you and your Druid here. We're just going to go ahead and spectate Staxwell, and kind of like we've seen all the decks so far. We've seen like pretty much all the cards. So now it's just going to be a matter of we're just going to watch it from the Priest perspective in this game, and this one actually probably going to take a little bit longer. So this should be a pretty epic battle, and this is going to decide our Wacky Wednesdays champion tonight in the Martyr mode battles. Look at this, already tripping. Look at the spectator mode. Like, can we write a letter to Blizzard, please? Because this is just too frustrating. All right, we got to jump out of it and jump back in. Unbelievable. Hopefully this will work now. Okay, there we go. So we only missed a couple of turns, and seeing as this is the martyr mode battles, it's not like we missed an awful lot. Uh, the question is like, do you want to mill your opponent? And the answer is probably yes. Like, yeah, you don't want to run them out of cards before you because you don't want to lose the fatigue battle when it comes down to this killing yourself faster. But I think if you have the opportunity to make them overdraw and burn off some key cards, it can still be a pretty important factor in the game. So I think Staxwell's thinking of doing, yeah, well, Pyromancer, Northshard Cleric, Power Word Shield, and he can still play Circle of Healing. Oh, that's really nice there because he's going to get like extra card draw, and he's just going to try and like instantly burn himself off here. I mean, he's going to draw 4 cards. I think he was just hoping to draw into another Circle of Healing because now, I mean, he also gets the extra draw from the Acolytes. That's pretty good. But now the Druid, yeah, he's going to kill the Northshire Cleric pretty sharpish. He doesn't want Staxwell to be able to like overdraw. And then he can even hero power up and ping the Wild Pyromancer to take a couple more damage. And how many cards? I think Staxwell's going to burn off on the next draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And even though he doesn't mind burning off a little bit in the sense that he's trying to mill himself, he certainly doesn't want to burn off the other Northshire Cleric. Like, this is like his main sort of win condition in this deck is the super overdraw, especially like late game. So, and that's an interesting play from Hawaiiandude using one of his like burst spells. And there it is, the Northshire Cleric. That's so harsh. Okay, so now how is the Priest going to win this game? Because if we look 22 cards versus 14 cards, I mean, he is significantly further ahead when it comes to like fatiguing himself, and he does have Gadget Zan Auctioneer in hand, so he has got multiple ways to continue drawing cards. But at this point, that's actually not a bad draw. Like to burn off Thought Steal because it's cards you would otherwise kind of put in your hand. It's kind of like a dead card. You're not really gonna. You can't really count on stealing like some like huge mechanics from the Druid here. You might steal like a couple of cards that are going to help you draw more cards, but I don't. You'd be lucky to steal some serious burst damage. But as I said, Staxwell has drawn an awful lot. He's drawn 8 more cards ahead of the Druid, so all he has to do is continue to draw as fast as possible. And every card in this deck that he's got remaining is geared towards drawing. So that's not going to be the hard part. The hard part now is just to make sure he stays on top of the Druid. Doesn't want to give him any really big targets to ping into. And at the same time, just needs to finish getting through this deck and start fatiguing as fast as possible. And I think next time we have a tournament like this, I want to bring the Rogue because we saw one Rogue today. We saw Chance bring a Rogue, and he had the right idea. The Rogue is definitely, I think, one of the more OP classes in this situation because, like I said, the double prep sprint combo at the end of your deck is so strong. Plus, now you can gang up on like any card that's going to draw you cards. So I think next time, instead of like risking it with the mage, I'm probably going to put together like a little rogue deck for this. And I don't know how soon we're going to be doing it again, but yeah, this was definitely fun. I hope you guys out there have enjoyed watching it, and I hope the players have enjoyed playing it. I certainly have enjoyed casting it, and it was fun to participate. But really, like I said earlier, I really love seeing people just play Hearthstone from different perspectives, seeing like the different mechanics that are available to you in the game, and just looking at it a different way and having as much fun as possible. Because I think that with all the competitiveness of deck building, of constructed play, working the ladder, I think you can get lost in like taking the game too seriously. It's a game, it's fun, and we all want to do well, but at the same time, you should be having fun and you should be exploring the different options that are available to you in the game. And I'm glad that we figured out things like this, that we have games like Martyr, that we can just really turn the game on its head and look at it from a completely different perspective. So just thanks again to everybody who's participated, and hope we get a nice little finish here. But what has the Druid managed to catch up with cards at all? No. Stax is still 8 cards ahead in the draw, and that's going to be an awful lot of fatigue damage to take. You almost don't want to play. I mean, you can play, like, you almost don't want to play Alexstrasza in the sense that you don't want to give the Druid a nice big target to swing at. It would almost be better if you had some taunts up, then you could play Alexstrasza and cut your life down. But I think that's what Stax was looking at. As soon as he hits fatigue, he's going to Alexstrasza himself down to 15 health, and then he's going to try and draw off the rest. Okay, so we see Malagos. Now he doesn't want to use his fatigue cards until he actually manages to bring himself down health-wise. So I think he has to risk it here. I think he has to go for it and just go ahead and Alexstrasza himself. He can still play another card. He doesn't have a cheap Murloc, but is he going to go Malagos and then next turn go Alexstrasza, Alexstrasza or Holy Smite? I mean, it's possible. Heal that. I think you want to kill the Drake here. And here's another beauty of playing games like this. How often do you see Malagos versus Malagos on the board? It's just not a versatile enough card that people are using it in that many decks. The spell damage buff is fantastic. Malagos is beautiful to play with, a lot of fun, but very difficult to work into a deck that requires you to put together big combos to finish off your opponent efficiently. And in games like this, turns out it's a really fun card. So nice to see Malagos as well. From both decks, 2 completely different classes, and serving a pretty singular purpose, as usual, but reversed, because now you're doing it to yourself. So, are we going to see it on the next turn? Let's see. He can Alexstrasza himself down to 15. He can do 7 damage, so get himself down to 8. He's also going to it's just so close. It depends, because we know the Druid runs Tree of Life. So Staxwell doesn't want to come too soon here with the Alexstrasza play, because he's going to take a ton of life off of himself, and then he's going to get it replaced by the Tree of Life. And that's one thing that the Druid has that's like a really sick mechanic in this sort of style of play. It is possible he's not holding yet, but highly unlikely. So, but he does burn one off. He does burn off 1 Tree of Life. And look, double Holy Smite. That ought to do it, right? Takes him down to 15. So, it leaves him at 1 health. It's so close. I think he needs to find a way to do 1 more damage to himself. There you go. Well, it probably still isn't enough. I don't know if this is the right play. I suppose playing Gadget's End does make him cycle through his cards pretty fast, so this might work out. I haven't calculated it yet, but it's iffy. Here we go. Oh, maybe he is. He's got 3 damage there. He's going to draw 2 more cards. He's going to draw 1 more card. That's 4 damage. And then Circle of Healing. Oh, is it enough? Is it enough? We saw the Druid lost 1 of the Tree of Life, so he should have 1 more Tree of Life in hand. But, Yeah, yeah. I don't think I think we're gonna see Tree of Life here. And then I mean Staxwell's put himself in a pretty good position. He took four fatigue damage. He's gonna take five more. He can't play Alex Straza before, but he can play Alex Straza once he sees Tree of Life and go down to 15 health again, and then he should be able to finish himself off with some draws here with the Cold Light Oracles. But that was just masterful draw through his deck, just absolutely getting through that so fast. And even after losing the second Northshire Cleric to overdraw, not bad at all. So 5, he'll take 6 on the next one. Now it's time for Alex Straza. He saw the other Tree of Life. There's no reason. Oh, 4, 4, so 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's enough, right? 6, 7. Yes, he wins it on Cold Light Oracles, and there you go. We're going to see it. Staxwell is our champion in the Martyr matches. Well done, sir. Well played. And thank you to everybody for participating in Wacky Wednesday. And I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you, everybody sitting at home watching these on YouTube. And make sure you email me. You can come down and get involved too. But well done to everybody. And congratulations again, Staxwell.